The scissors glinted under the bathroom light as Nora methodically cut through the last credit card. American Express Platinum, the one Marcus used for business dinners with clients, and apparently for weekend getaways with Vanessa. Nora aligned the scissors with precision, her hand steady despite the hurricane raging inside her. Snip. The card split cleanly in two, joining the pile of plastic confetti scattered across the marble countertop. 6 cards, 72 monthly payments, 12 years of marriage. Her phone pinged with a notification. Another email confirmation. Your account has been successfully closed. She'd methodically worked through them all, first canceling the joint accounts, then the individual ones where she was the primary cardholder but had given Marcus supplementary access he'd abused in ways she was still discovering. Nora caught her reflection in the mirror, her usually perfect chestnut hair disheveled, dark circles framing eyes that had cried themselves dry. Yet something else lived in those eyes now, something steely, something that had been dormant for too long. She gathered the plastic remnants, dropping them into an envelope. Then she unlocked the hidden compartment in her jewelry box, extracting the thumb drive containing the evidence her private investigator had compiled. The GPS data, the hotel receipts, the time-stamped photos, and most damning of all, the emails between Marcus and Diane, Nora's own sister-in-law, outlining their elaborate plan. Just a few more months, Marcus had written. Once the McAllister deal closes, I'll have enough to leave without her getting suspicious about the money. You've been amazing setting everything up for us. Nora sealed the envelope, addressing it to Marcus's office with a steady hand. Tomorrow was the McAllister deal signing. Tomorrow was also the day Marcus would discover what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. 3 months earlier. You're working too hard, Diane said, sliding a glass of wine across the granite kitchen island to Nora. Marcus says he hardly sees you these days. Nora accepted the wine with a grateful smile. Her sister-in-law's impromptu visits had become more frequent lately, a welcome distraction from the mounting pressure at work. As the youngest partner at Caldwell and Hayes Architecture, Nora was determined to prove herself worthy of the promotion, especially with the prestigious McAllister Tower project on the line. That's rich coming from him, Nora said, taking a sip. He's been practically living at the office for months. Something flickered across Diane's face, so brief Nora almost missed it. He's just trying to provide. You know how he is. Diane tucked a strand of blonde hair behind her ear. Speaking of which, how's the house hunting going? Still looking. Nora sighed. Marcus keeps changing his mind about neighborhoods. One day it's Westlake for the schools, the next it's downtown for the convenience. Well, when you're ready to get serious, call me. I didn't become the top realtor in Austin by accident. Diane's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. I know exactly what would be perfect for you two. Later that night, when Marcus finally came home smelling of expensive scotch, Nora was already half asleep. Big day? She murmured as he slipped into bed. Brutal. He kept his back to her. Reynolds is being difficult about the contract terms. Nora reached for him, but he shifted away slightly. I'm exhausted, Nora. Rain check? It was the 4th rain check that month, but who was counting? She rolled away, the distance between them stretching wider than the few inches of Egyptian cotton sheets. Your sister stopped by, she said to his back. Oh? What did Diane want? Just checking in. She mentioned something about a perfect house. Marcus stiffened almost imperceptibly. She's always selling something. She cares about us. Yeah, he said after a pause. Diane always looks out for family. The next morning, Nora woke to an empty bed and a text from Marcus. Early meeting. Don't wait up tonight. At the office, Nora buried herself in the McAllister Tower blueprints. This project could cement her reputation, a 40-story mixed-use development that would transform Austin's skyline. Her phone buzzed with an email notification from American Express. Unusual spending alert. 4,726.35 at Tiffany & Cooper. Nora frowned. Their anniversary wasn't for months. Her birthday had passed weeks ago. She called the number on the back of the card. Yes, the purchase was made today at the Tiffany's in Houston, the customer service representative confirmed. Houston? Marcus was supposed to be in Austin today. Would you like to dispute the charge, Mrs. Reed? No, Nora said after a moment. It's fine. That evening she called Marcus, but it went straight to voicemail. She told herself there was a reasonable explanation. Perhaps a last-minute client meeting in Houston. Perhaps a surprise gift to apologize for his recent distance. The next day, a small blue box was sitting on her desk when she arrived home. Inside was a diamond bracelet that must have cost at least $5,000. Do you love it? Marcus asked, coming up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. I saw it and thought of you. It's beautiful, she said, studying his reflection in the mirror. What's the occasion? Do I need an occasion to spoil my brilliant, successful wife? His hands slid up her sides. Tonight, there was no rain check. Later, as Marcus slept beside her, Nora carefully extracted herself from bed and went to his closet. The receipt for the bracelet was in his suit jacket. $4,126.35 from Tiffany's in Austin, not Houston. She checked his dress shirt collar. A smudge of red lipstick, a shade she never wore. The first crack in the foundation appeared. And once you see one crack, you start noticing all the others. Over the next few weeks, Nora began paying attention. The late meetings. The weekend client emergencies. The unexplained charges on their credit cards at restaurants and hotels she'd never visited. The new cologne he'd started wearing, one she hadn't bought him, and through it all, Diane became an increasingly present figure in their lives. Dropping by with dinner when Marcus was working late. Calling to check if Nora needed anything. Suggesting houses in neighborhoods far from the center of Austin, always with generous guest suites and private entrances. You seem distracted, her business partner. James noted one afternoon as they reviewed the McAllister blueprints. Everything okay at home? Fine, Nora said automatically. Then, reconsidering. Actually, have you ever used a private investigator? James raised an eyebrow. Once when we suspected a contractor of cutting corners on materials. Why? Just curious about the process. That evening, she met with Elena Vasquez, a former prosecutor turned private investigator who came highly recommended for her discretion. I need to know if my husband is having an affair, Nora said, the words burning her throat. I can find that out, Elena replied. But are you sure you want to know? Nora handed over the retainer check. I'm already living with the question. I might as well live with the answer. 2 weeks later, Elena called with a simple message. I have what you asked for. The evidence was irrefutable. Photos of Marcus and a woman entering hotel rooms, credit card receipts for meals, gifts, and weekend getaways. The woman's face was always carefully obscured. Hat, sunglasses, turned away from the camera. Who is she? Nora asked, her voice hollow. Elena hesitated. Mrs. Reed? It's your sister-in-law. The betrayal knocked the wind from Nora's lungs. Not some random woman. Not a colleague or client. Diane, her husband's sister. The woman who had been in their wedding. Who had held Nora when she cried after her second miscarriage. Who had been visiting their home, looking Nora in the eye while sleeping with her husband. There's more, Elena said gently. They've been planning this for some time. The emails revealed everything. Diane had found them a house, in Vanessa's name, to avoid raising suspicions. Marcus had been siphoning money from their joint accounts into an offshore account. They were waiting for the McAllister deal to close, a deal that would earn Nora's firm millions, and Nora herself a substantial bonus, before he filed for divorce. I'm so sorry, Elena said. Nora stared out the window, her reflection a ghostly overlay on the Austin skyline. Don't be. Knowledge is power. And now I know exactly what I'm dealing with. The McAllister deal was scheduled to close on a Friday. On Wednesday, Nora visited her personal banker. Mrs. Reed, these are significant changes you're requesting, Mr. Winters said, peering at her over his glasses. I understand, Nora replied calmly. But as you can see, I'm authorized to make these changes. She'd spent the last month quietly preparing, creating her own separate accounts, documenting the movement of funds Marcus had tried to hide, photographing their valuables, and creating an inventory of their assets. Very well. The transfers will be completed by end of day tomorrow, Mr. Winters confirmed. And the credit cards? All 6 cards will be canceled effective immediately. Nora nodded, a strange calm settling over her. Thank you. That evening, Diane called. Marcus told me about the McAllister signing tomorrow. We should celebrate this weekend. I was thinking dinner at Barton Creek, my treat. That sounds lovely, Nora lied. I've actually been wanting to talk to both of you. Oh? Diane's voice held a note of wariness. Yes, about the future. Our future. A pause. I'll set it up for Saturday evening. On Thursday, Nora wore her power suit to the office, a charcoal gray Armani that Marcus had always said made her look intimidating. Good. That was precisely the look she was going for today. The McAllister deal signing went flawlessly. Champagne was poured, hands were shaken, photos were taken for the business section of the Austin American-Statesman. Through it all, Nora smiled and accepted congratulations, knowing that across town, Marcus was discovering that his credit cards were being declined. She checked her phone during a break in the celebration. 17 missed calls from Marcus, 2 voicemails, 8 text messages ranging from confused to desperate to angry. Nora, my cards aren't working. Call me. Something's wrong with all our accounts. Where are you? What the hell did you do? Call me right now. She turned off her phone and rejoined the celebration. When she finally arrived home that evening, Marcus was pacing in the living room, his face contorted with anger. What the fuck? Did you do? He demanded the moment she walked through the door. Nora set down her briefcase calmly. Congratulations are in order, I believe. The McAllister deal closed today. Don't play games with me, he snarled. The credit cards are canceled. The accounts are empty. I had to borrow money from... He stopped abruptly. From Diane? Nora finished for him. She walked to the bar and poured herself a whiskey, neat. How did she take the news that her investment in your future together might be compromised? The color drained from Marcus's face. What are you talking about? Nora took a slow sip, savoring both the burn of the alcohol and the look of dawning horror on her husband's face. I particularly enjoyed the email where you told her, and I quote, Nora is too trusting. She'll never see it coming. That was a particularly nice touch. You've been spying on me? His voice rose an octave. No, I've been investigating a crime, she corrected. Conspiracy, fraud, theft, take your pick. Marcus switched tactics, his expression softening. Nora, baby, whatever you think is happening, you've got it wrong. Let me explain. Save it for Vanessa. Nora cut him off coldly. I'm sure she'll be very interested to hear how you plan to use my bonus to finance your new life together. You've lost your mind, he tried, but the panic in his eyes told a different story. No, I've found my backbone. Nora set down her glass. You should pack a bag. You won't be staying here tonight. This is my house too. Actually, it's not. Nora smiled thinly. If you check the deed, you'll find it's solely in my name. A decision you agreed to, if you recall, for tax purposes when we bought it. Marcus stared at her, speechless for perhaps the first time in their marriage. Oh, and Marcus? I took the liberty of calling Reynolds about that contract you've been struggling with. She watched his eyes widen. Interesting that he had no idea what I was talking about. Almost as if those late nights weren't spent at the office after all. You bitch, he whispered. No, she corrected him. I'm an architect, and I just demolished the house of cards you built. The Barton Creek restaurant was Austin elegance personified. Soft lighting, white tablecloths, discreet service. Nora arrived 15 minutes early, selecting a table in the corner that offered both privacy and a clear view of the entrance. She ordered a bottle of Cristal, Marcus's favorite champagne. Tonight was, after all, a special occasion. She watched Diane enter first, scanning the restaurant with the practiced eye of someone used to appraising valuable property. When their eyes met, Diane's smile faltered slightly before she recovered, making her way over with perfect posture. "Nora, you're early." She air-kissed both of Nora's cheeks. "Marcus is parking the car." "Is he?" Nora gestured to the champagne. "I thought we should celebrate properly." Diane's eyes widened at the bottle. "Cristal, this is a serious celebration." "The most serious." Nora smiled, filling 3 glasses. "To new beginnings." Something in Nora's tone made Diane pause, her champagne flute halfway to her lips. "You seem different tonight." "Do I?" Nora tilted her head. "I suppose major life changes will do that to a person." Before Diane could respond, Marcus appeared, looking haggard and tense. His eyes darted between the 2 women, clearly trying to read the situation. "Sorry I'm late," he said, sliding into the seat furthest from Nora. "We were just toasting to new beginnings," Nora said pleasantly. "Won't you join us?" Marcus reluctantly raised his glass, his knuckles white around the stem. "So," Nora continued conversationally, "have you told Diane about your credit card troubles?" The champagne caught in Diane's throat. She coughed, dabbing at her mouth with a napkin. "What troubles?" "Oh, just a minor issue," Nora waved dismissively. "All 6 of our credit cards were canceled yesterday. Marcus found it quite inconvenient, especially since our joint accounts seem to have been emptied as well." The siblings exchanged a look that confirmed everything Nora already knew. "That sounds serious," Diane managed. "Banking errors can be so frustrating." "It wasn't an error," Nora said softly. "Just like it wasn't an error when Marcus transferred $342,000 to an offshore account over the past year. Or when you, Diane, purchased a house under Vanessa Lewis's name, an interesting choice using your middle and maiden names, with a $175,000 down payment that came from my husband." The color drained from Diane's face. "Nora, please." Nora held up a hand. "Let's not insult each other with denials. I have all the emails, Diane, all the texts, all the hotel receipts, the reservation you made for your brother at the Four Seasons in Houston when he told me he was working late, the lingerie purchases, the weekend trips disguised as business emergencies." She turned to Marcus. "Did you know your sister kept meticulous records of everything? Every dollar you gave her to set up your new life, every promise you made about what would happen after you left me. She even documented the gifts you bought for her, her commission, I assume, for playing matchmaker and homewrecker simultaneously." Marcus's jaw clenched. "You had no right to invade our privacy." "Privacy?" Nora laughed, a sound devoid of humor. "You forfeited any right to privacy when you conspired to defraud me. When you planned to blindside me with divorce papers the moment the McAllister money hit our accounts." She leaned forward. "Money that is now safely beyond your reach, by the way." "You can't just take everything," Marcus hissed. "I have rights." Actually, Nora withdrew a folder from her purse, sliding it across the table. "You might want to review the prenuptial agreement you signed. Specifically, the infidelity clause on page 17. Marcus didn't touch the folder. "That clause works both ways." "Indeed it does. But only one of us has violated it." Nora took another sip of champagne. "I've already forwarded everything to my attorney. He's drawing up the divorce papers as we speak." Diane, who had been uncharacteristically silent, finally spoke. "What do you want, Nora?" "What do I want?" The question hung in the air. What did she want? Revenge? Justice? Her old life back? No. None of those things seemed adequate anymore. "I want to understand," Nora said finally. "Was it worth it? Betraying someone who considered you family? Who trusted you? Who invited you into her home while you were planning to dismantle her life?" Diane couldn't meet her eyes. "It wasn't. It didn't start like that." "How did it start then? Help me understand." "She was just helping me." Marcus interjected. You were so focused on your career, on making partner. Don't you dare! Nora cut him off, her voice deadly quiet. Don't you dare make this about my career when you encouraged every promotion, celebrated every success, right until the moment you realized you could exploit it. Fine. Marcus's facade finally cracked. You want the truth? I was tired, Nora. Tired of always coming second to your ambition. Tired of being Mr. Nora Reed, the architect's husband. Diane understood that. And the money? Nora pressed. Was that about feeling emasculated too, or just old-fashioned greed? The money was practical, Diane answered, when Marcus remained silent. He couldn't leave you with nothing to his name. How considerate, Nora said dryly. And the house? The one you found for them, with my money? Diane had the grace to look ashamed. I got carried away. It started as just helping my brother through a rough patch, and then you decided to cash in, Nora finished. Tell me, what was your commission going to be on selling us the perfect house while secretly setting up their love nest across town? It wasn't like that, Diane protested weakly. It was exactly like that. Nora stood up, placing her napkin precisely on the table. You'll be hearing from my attorney, both of you. In the meantime, Marcus, I've taken the liberty of having your things packed. You can pick them up from the storage unit. The access code is our wedding date, something you apparently had no trouble forgetting. She turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Diane? You might want to call Vanessa. The house you put in her name? The deed has some irregularities that my lawyer is very interested in exploring. Tax fraud is a federal offense, after all. As Nora walked away, she heard Marcus call after her. You won't get away with this. She turned, allowing herself one final look at the man she had once built her life around. I already have. Enjoy the champagne. It's the last thing you'll ever get from me. 6 months later. The opening gala for the McAllister Tower was Austin's event of the season. As lead architect, Nora stood in the soaring atrium she had designed, accepting congratulations from colleagues and clients alike. The 40-story building was already being hailed as a new icon of the city's skyline, modern yet timeless, innovative yet practical. Ms. Reed? A waiter approached with a glass of champagne. Compliments of the gentleman at the bar. Nora glanced over to see James, her business partner, raising his own glass in a toast. She smiled, accepting the champagne and making her way through the crowd toward him. Not bad for your first solo project as managing partner, James said, clinking his glass against hers. Not solo, Nora corrected. I had an excellent team. A team you assembled and led. James nodded toward the crowded room. Everyone who matters in Austin real estate is here tonight. Your reputation is gold, unlike her ex-husband's. The divorce had been finalized 3 months ago, with Marcus receiving far less than he'd hoped for, thanks to the prenuptial agreement and the evidence of his financial misconduct. Last she'd heard, he had taken a position with a small firm in Houston, a significant step down from his previous role. Diane had fared even worse. The investigation into the property purchased under Vanessa Lewis's name had revealed multiple licensing violations, leading to the suspension of her realtor's license. The scandal had effectively ended her career in Austin's close-knit luxury real estate community. Ms. Reed? A young woman approached hesitantly. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to say what an honor it is to meet you. Your work is an inspiration to women in architecture everywhere. Thank you, Nora said, genuinely touched. And you are? Elena Morgan. I just joined Westlake Partners. Ah, my competition, Nora smiled. Well, if you ever decide you want to work for the winning team instead, give me a call. After the young woman left, James chuckled. Already poaching talent? You're ruthless, Nora Reed. Not ruthless, she corrected. Just finally playing to win. Her phone vibrated with a text message. Elena Vasquez, the PI who had uncovered Marcus and Diane's betrayal. Saw your building in the news. Magnificent. How does it feel to be on top? Nora typed back. like I can finally see the horizon. Later that night, as the gala wound down, Nora stepped out onto the observation deck she had insisted on including in the design. 40 stories above Austin, the city lights stretched out below her like a constellation of earthbound stars. 6 months ago, she had stood in her bathroom cutting up credit cards, feeling as though her world was ending. Now she recognized that night for what it truly was. Not an ending, but a beginning. The moment she had reclaimed her life, piece by piece. The cool night air caressed her face as she looked out over the city. Her city, in many ways. The skyline now bore her creative imprint. Her firm was thriving under her leadership. The hollow ache of betrayal had gradually transformed into something unexpected. Gratitude. Gratitude that she had discovered the truth before wasting more years with people unworthy of her trust. Her phone buzzed again. A notification from her bank. The final divorce settlement payment had been deposited. The last financial tie to Marcus, severed cleanly. Nora slipped her phone back into her clutch and took one last look at the glittering cityscape. Then she turned and walked back inside, toward the future she was building. One blueprint, one day, one decision at a time. Sometimes, the most beautiful structures rose from the ashes of what came before. As an architect, Nora had always known this. Now she had lived it.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.